Hello, Shy Guitar people. So, this is a video that I've been planning for a while. I haven't been here ever since I was 14. And I don't want to set up my microphone. I didn't really want to set up a lot because I just didn't want this video to seem way too set up. But if you have been following me on my page and my social media, you will know that I'm currently on the balcony where I almost committed suicide. And I've never thought about this place ever. And just now, I had the urge to just turn on the camera and just tell you guys what my thoughts were, which I've typed out on my laptop. I was gonna print them out, but that seemed like kind of a waste of paper, so I'm just gonna read off what I want to say because it's just, I can get words out easier that way. And so I never really thought about being nervous or anything, but that's kind of what's going on right now. So let me just read this to you guys. It is going to be a little bit long because it's like 5 pages, but I don't care because every part is important, and this is probably going to be another long video. So yeah, here we go. I'm on the balcony where I almost committed suicide. I haven't been here since I was 14. I was lucky enough to have a friend present to talk me out of it, and I really do owe her my life. But what pushed me to that was constant bullying at school and constant discrimination because of my epilepsy. I don't know why everyone in the entire class, except for like 2 people, felt the need to laugh at my seizures, act them out, and make fun of me for it. But that was the case at the time. Sometimes people would even be racist and tell me to go back to America and that I don't belong in Thailand. And while all of that was bad, I was being ridiculed at home just by the maid saying she hated me and telling me how lazy I was, when I didn't do even just one thing she asked me to. I told my stepfamily about it and they just told me to ignore her. At the time, my stepfamily and I weren't on the best terms either, especially with my stepmom. I was immature towards her and didn't like her. She was immature towards me because of it. We just didn't get along. And while all of that was happening, I felt that I still had my dad, the only blood relative I really had, since my brother was just a baby and my sister hadn't been born yet. My dad was really the only person I felt I could talk to. That was true until one day he said something that changed everything and would later on become a common occurrence. I remember this day very vividly because it just shocked me so much. My dad was a very kind person. He was always compassionate and caring, so what happened next was just so out of character for him. I remember that day, a girl had just said something really mean to me right to my face. I was really upset about it, so I decided to finally tell my dad that I was being bullied and talk to him about what the girl had said. The minute I told him, and this is a direct quote, he said in a very mocking tone, "Oh, I feel so sorry for you. Your life must be so hard. Here's a tiny violin for you since I feel so sorry for you." And I was just so shocked that I thought he hadn't heard me correctly. I repeated what the girl had said and repeated that she said it to me, right to my face. And he just repeated the last part back to me again in a mocking tone. "Oh, right to your face, oh." And he did this fake, pouty, sad face. And finally, it hit me that he was genuinely being sarcastic and just really rude. And I was so shocked that I eventually got this really disgusted look on my face and said out loud, "What is wrong with you?" And I don't remember what he said after that, since I just felt like my brain shut off at that point. but I know it was something really rude and along the same lines. After that day, the image of the dad I always knew just vanished. He used to be the man in my life that I loved the most. He once even told me as a kid to not let the mean things people say get to me. That was his advice. So it seemed so incredulous to me that all of a sudden, he had just become like everyone else. I had absolutely nobody. And while some of you may think of social media, this was a time when people still used email to talk to each other, and Facebook was really new, and I wasn't allowed to have one. And I could have just emailed my mom. I had her email address. But the thing was, I didn't really realize that what my dad was doing was abuse. After that day, comments like these became so mundane. He would make me feel small and incompetent. He would say that I'm not smart or that I don't have common sense. He would ask me questions and then just space out and not listen. Now, the listening thing was not uncommon for him. That was a side effect of his ADHD. However, with everything else piling up, it just felt like nobody wanted to listen to me. He would always talk about himself, and he sometimes even admitted to lying to me to get me to be on his side. Whenever I brought up missing home and expressing the feeling of homesickness, he would always ask me, "Why are you complaining? You have everything here. You have people who pay for your expenses and your school. You have a nice place to stay. So many other people have it worse. Stop feeling sorry for yourself." That last sentence often comes back to haunt me. When I'm sad for no reason, or when these things just come back to disrupt my sleep, I genuinely think, why am I feeling sorry for myself? But then, I have to tell myself that that's just another dumb thing he guided me to believe. It's not true. He would make me feel like I was the smelliest, ugliest, dumbest kid. He would see my face after school and try to scrape the oil off of my nose and ask, "What happened to your face?" He would smell me after school and tell me to go take a shower. I won't have a daughter who smells like a goat. It's very hot in Thailand, so I couldn't really help sweating a lot. So it's not really my fault. But the whole problem I have with this looking back is, I thought that that was how everyone talked to their kid. I didn't know that all of this was verbal abuse, which in the present, I've learned is actually common. Victims often don't know they are being abused, and the abuse is sometimes even put off as a joke. My dad did that a lot. When I got offended or said something, he would just act like I was being ridiculous and say that he's just joking around and I don't need to get all sensitive. He made me believe everything that people were telling me, that I wasn't capable of love and that I never would be. He was also very weird about the fact of the human body and how I chose to dress. I get very hot in the night, so I normally wear shorts and tank tops as pajamas. I don't see a problem with this, as I'm not going out like that. I'm just wearing it to bed. One night, he came to my room and stared at me wide-eyed, like this, just making it very obvious that he wanted to stare at only my face, which was kind of awkward. He then proceeds to tell me that I shouldn't dress like that and asks me, "Why can't you just dress like other girls?" Meaning conservatively. And we would always fight. It became a well-known thing to happen. He would disagree with how I wanted to live and tried to force me to do what he wanted. He always said I have an attitude problem and that I have a mouth on me, which, yes, that was true to an extent, but I am just not the kind of person to be controlled, and I've learned that oftentimes verbal or any kind of abuse is mostly about control. My dad even confirmed this a little with the way he acted. I would tell him that I'm not scared of him, and he would say that I should be around him for a while and see what happens. He would tell me that I was going to respect him and do what he says without question. He made me feel so ashamed of my body and how I looked. To this day, I'm still worried about how I smell or even how I look, even though I've learned that most of it isn't true. He made me feel so stupid and like I just wasn't smart. And to this day, I feel so incompetent when other kids can do things that I can't. I feel like I really am stupid. I try not to believe that as well. He made me feel like I was always wrong since everything I did was just a disappointment to him. I broke a wine bottle by accident and he said I ruined it. He said he was going to take me somewhere once and then I changed my mind, saying I didn't want to go anymore. He then grabbed my arm. And like in this, I say it's my arm, but looking back, it was actually my wrist, and tightened his grip when I tried to move away. There was a customer out front, so I was really embarrassed. He didn't care. He didn't let go until he scared me and told me I needed to listen to him. He didn't even stop when I told him he was hurting me. He just wanted to make sure he was heard. Everything about the way he acted was just like a switch to me. Once my dad didn't care, even refused to pay for anything for me, that was it. I had nobody. I was alone. Everyone hated me, and nobody wanted to love me. So I didn't see the point in loving myself. I was just so tired of everything. I was tired of being bullied and treated differently. I was tired of the abuse. I was tired of just being someone nobody cared about. I was just tired. So suicide seemed like the best option. I didn't see a point in living anymore. Nobody would miss me. Nobody would care. At least, that's what it felt like. At the time, when I was standing there, just feeling miserable, my best friend at the time, who I told, talked to me. She told me why I should live, and that I had a mom who cared about me. She even used religion to stop me. And she eventually pulled me away, and I followed her. And she really is the reason that I lived on. It was like she influenced a different switch in my brain that made me see how precious life was. Even though I was unhappy at the time, I got through it, and I have her to thank. As for my dad, he feels like the furthest thing from a parent. He never acted like one, and he's never acted like he cared when I really just needed him the most. I've given him many chances to prove he's changed, whether he knows it or not. He still acts in the same childish manner. He still thinks I haven't even tried to forgive him, and that I have a problem, not him. Some parts of his bullshit have even crept into my college years. I remember when I had to go take the college entrance exam. He was going to drive me that day, along with my stepmom and my little brother. He told me to carry some groceries downstairs, about 6 or 7 bags, and they were heavy. He wanted me to carry them on my own, and I was about to open my mouth and ask for help. I didn't even get a word in because he interrupted me and told me, again, directly quoted from his mouth, "Don't fucking start with me, I will fucking backhand you." And I carried the groceries, and before we got in the car, I was just crying. And I remember this moment, actually. I do. I remember being so scared because he had never threatened me with physical violence. I was just so shaken up. And that was the point in time where I started to realize he's not the same person anymore. I had to admit after all these years that he was exactly the same. He had not changed one bit. And later on, I tried to love him well into my college career. I tried talking to him. I tried ignoring the snide comments he said, even when he admitted to having someone to pick on. But it was just too much. I had to realize that what he did and was still doing was abuse. I had to admit that he is never going to change, and he will never realize that the one with the problem is him, not me. While I still love him, as he is my dad, I just cannot have him in my life. It's sad that it had to end like that, but I'm always grateful that I had a friend who talked to me and convinced me not to end my life. I'm lucky to be alive, and I'm grateful for that period in my life because it has made me such a stronger person. And it came with having to cut someone I cared deeply about out of my life. But he's not the dad I knew. He's changed. And if that means for worse, then for my own mental health, he can't be a part of my life. And he doesn't deserve to be, because he can't see the good in me. And that's a sad thing, but unfortunately it happens. That is the whole entire thing that I wrote on my laptop. And just, if you or anybody you know has suicidal thoughts, please, please, please tell somebody, seek help. Just try your best to be nice to people, because you never know what is going on with them. You never know what they have going on in their life. You never know where their mental state is at. And that concludes the video for this week. I'm going to put some suicide prevention hotlines in the description. Please, if you know somebody going through the same thing, please check it out. I love all of you Shag Guitar people. Bye guys. Rock on.